Thank you for attending Microdesk's What's New in Autodesk Infrastructure presentation from today. I know everybody's busy and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to attend and see what some of the new features and enhancements have been to some of the software that we use all the time. For the duration of the presentation, you'll all be on mute, but feel free and utilize the chat window on your meeting platform. And if you have any questions, I will address those at the tail end. I have some time set aside so that we can go through and answer any questions that you may have. All right. So let's go ahead and begin. Before we get started, I just want to take a quick moment and introduce you to Microdesk if you're not that familiar with us or not currently a customer. So Microdesk was founded in 1994 as an Autodesk reseller with a simple mission to assist architecture, engineering, construction owners, and GIS firms with improving workflows and integrated project delivery technologies. 25 years later, that mission still holds true. Microdesk is a well-established AECO consulting firm with 13 offices in the US and UK. We have over 230 AECO consultants, solution specialists, software developers that can help in all sectors, all disciplines, and at all stages. Some of the hottest topics in the AECO world are globalization, urbanization, and sustainability. Urbanization studies suggest that the US will build 114 cities the size of Boston in the next 30 years. Here at Microdesk, we can help to make sure that you're prepared to meet those demands. We use software from industry leaders that combine it with our vision and passion for sustainability to meet the demands of urbanization. Our team and industry expert consultants are refining project delivery and assessment and asset management. We're committed to helping clients realize the business benefits of BIM quickly and economically by facilitating the use of innovative technologies and processes. Whether it's streamlining your design, construction, or operations, our consulting team is the nation's largest and most experienced group in the AECO technology consulting professionals. Microdesk clients represent some of the nation's largest and most respected organizations and public agencies, including the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, the Denver Airport, Robert A.M. Stern, and Columbia University, among others. To help support the industry with these demands of urbanization, we provide full service consulting. This includes building information modeling services, enterprise strategy and workflow assessment, technology management, mentoring and support, application development, and more. We partner with world leaders such as Autodesk and IBM to utilize innovative technologies and methodologies to empower sustainable design and overcome local challenges. Our vision is to reduce the environmental impact of urbanization by helping the AECO industry to design, construct, and operate better projects more efficiently by leveraging the full power and potential of BIM, VDC, and asset management. I'll be your instructor today. My name is Mario Morales, and I've been a technical specialist here at Microdesk for over 11 years. I'm an Autodesk certified BIM specialist, a Civil 3D certified professional, and an Autodesk certified instructor with more than 20 years of industry experience. So when we talk about transportation as it relates to infrastructure, we're talking about a few different categories: roads and highways, airport, and rail. Autodesk has dedicated a large effort to each of these categories, including collaboration, design automation, as well as BIM GIS integrated workflows. When we talk about land development as it relates to infrastructure, we're typically referring to site design and utility development. Autodesk has added several new features that aid in the development of these categories as well, including design collaborations with Revit, Plant 3D, and GIS, while also adding additional functionality to existing tools like pressure pipes, gravity pipe networks, all while improving performance and scalability. With the Autodesk partnership with Esri, you will also see integration into Civil 3D, Map 3D, and Infraworks, including the ability to read, write, edit, and publish information into ArcGIS Online, as well as Enterprise. Today, we'll be looking at some of the newest features and enhancements in both Civil 3D and Infraworks. Some of these features include the new Project Explorer, some of the updates and enhancements to pressure pipe networks, the new rail profile view bands, the connector for ArcGIS, feature line editing enhancements, new tools, and the BIM 360 collaboration for Civil 3D. And then in Infraworks, we'll be looking at the refined bridge analysis, the increased cross-frame LOD analysis, some of the enhancements they've done to component roads, the new native LAS/LAZ format support for point clouds, coordinate system updates in Model Builder, and the homepage UI. Let's start by taking a look at some of the new features and enhancements that have been added to Civil 3D. The first one is the addition to Project Explorer. This is a new tool, a new feature that was added, and is currently available to all AEC collection license owners. And what it does is it allows you to view, manage, and edit your entire design in one cohesive window. Makes things very fast, very easy, and allows you to do things very quickly that were very time consuming in the past. So it definitely makes navigating the data much easier. And it also allows you to check your design a lot easier as well. Another great thing about this is it does also allow you to generate custom reports far beyond the reports that are available in the toolbox, as well as tables. So you can also generate your AutoCAD and part tables. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Project Explorer. So I have a standard simple file I've put together, which contains a decent amount of data. There's some surfaces, some alignments, some corridors, things like that. And I've also created this same model in Infraworks. So as we look at some of those tools, we'll start getting familiar with this same project location. So to access the Project Explorer, you would go over to your Add-ins ribbon tab, and you'll find Project Explorer up here. In here, there's quite a bit you can do, and you'll see that there's several tabs along the top of the window, and this is all completely customizable. You can go in and adjust your layout to choose the features that you want to see and how you'd like to see them. So currently, I'm on the Alignments tab. And so, as you can see, as I sift through my alignment list, it will populate those alignments, and it will show you horizontally and vertically. So you can see when it talks about alignments, it's also talking about profiles. So you can control the features you're going to see in the window. I'm currently looking at this profile here. I can adjust my vertical exaggeration if it helps. I can also compare that alignment to other alignments in the file. So doing profile overlays, if you will. And I can quickly work my way through the various designs. There's, excuse me, there's again tabs for lots of different categories. So I've also got some assemblies in this file. You can see those listed here. And then as you work through these, you'll start noticing the various properties that are available to you. So you can get to all the sub-assemblies and the properties that have been defined on those. So as you can see, I've got lanes and sidewalks and things like that. I can adjust property values without having to click each individual piece on my model space. So it makes it really easy and convenient to get to all of these, change the code sets that have been assigned to it, the assembly types. So if you want to change them to a rail or undefined, things like that, you can very quickly and easily make all those changes. When I switch over to corridors, again, you'll see the corridors that are available to me here as well. Again, I can adjust vertical exaggerations. You can navigate in these windows just as you do with your standard Civil 3D. And then I can also come through and pick specific stations or work my way through the stations. I can also turn on surfacing, compare the surfaces at any given locations. Again, all of this that we see is completely customizable in the preferences. So I can go in and start adjusting vertical exaggeration, grid spacing, colors, things like that. So we can run through, and there's lots of really cool things we can do in here, stuff we can adjust and change. I don't have any point groups, but we also have support for those. And then we also have surfaces. You'll see all of the triangulation information and everything else. Feature line support, so you can run through the various feature lines that are in your file. I don't have any parcels in this file, but there's support for that as well. And then pipe networks. So you can see I've got pipe networks here. I can look through the network however I see fit. I'm looking currently at this very small network from structure 1 to structure 5, but I can choose what I'd like to see. And I can even edit the design here too. All of these buttons along the top have the ability to create as well. So this window can actually remain open. You can put it on a separate monitor, or you can work in your file. But for example, I can come in and choose to create a new pipe network or create one from an object. So those tools are available on all those tabs. I can also choose to edit this pipe run. So as you can see with my design here, if I went over and said edit pipe run, I can pull up all the information on this. And say, for example, I wanted the entire pipe run to be at 1%. I can do that, choose OK, and update the entire pipe network at one time without having to go in, select a pipe, open up the network editing tools, and then edit each pipe individually. So it makes it very fast and easy to make those types of changes. Again, I can come in and lock things, and I can compare them to surfacing. So lots of great features we can do in here. We also have support for sample lines and AutoCAD blocks. And then the last tab is for your object sets. So in your object sets, I'll just make a quick one really fast. Let's say we're going to make one for the storm drain. You can choose what this object set does. It can generate reports of all different types, text, CSVs, HTMLs, PDFs. And then down at the bottom, you'll also notice I can create drawing files or tables in model space or paper space. So very quick and easy. So let's just say this is going to be an HTML report. And so it's giving me the options of how to format and set up the look, style, fonts, things like that for this report. If I was doing a table-based one, then I could pick my insertion points and things like that. I'll go ahead and choose OK. And now this set has been created, and now I can just add what I want into this. So for example, if I wanted to come in and add the storm drain, all that information is in there. So very quick and easy to do so. And again, if I wanted to, I could also come in, and even though I did it as a report, I can still say generate a table. Go ahead and call this storm drain as well. Again, I'll leave the default fonts and heights and styles just as they are. Choose OK. And if you look down below, you can see my application is still interactive with me. It's asking for a location for this table. I can just go out and place it somewhere off to the side. And you can see how it's generated this. And I had it put in all the information, so I'm getting a little bit of everything, a little overkill, but you kind of get the gist of that. The nice thing about these is these are all dynamic, whether they're in model space or paper space or whatever, it doesn't matter. If your design changes, the tables will update as well. All right. So definitely a nice little tool that we've seen, and it's made things a lot easier and a lot easier to access the various information. Pressure pipe networks have had quite a few updates as well, including the new snap to pipe intelligence. So it allows you to just click on a pipe as you're creating a new pipe run, and it will automatically determine the T sizes that are needed and pick that from the catalog and place it for you without you having to choose it from the drop-down list. We also have new enhancements to the vertical layouts, the new vertical bends in profiles as well as creating dynamic station and static station ranges. Quickly converting pipes from straight to curve and back again. Creating separate pipe runs per line, which is really nice, all within the same network. Automatic elbow updates, so as you click and drag a pipe network on your model space, it will automatically figure out which pipe fitting needs to be put in place, and it will switch those out for you. Automatic network offset creation and dynamic linking to the profile. So when we're working now with the tools, you'll see that there's been some enhancements to the compass that was currently in there or previously in there. Definitely makes life a lot easier and more functional to get those exact fittings you need. And again, as you start drawing, if you snap over a pipe, it will automatically calculate the sizes of the T's and the bends and things like that. You can also now add bends to the profile view very easily by just clicking. And wherever you click, it will place the bend that you need. And then you can alter your design. So as you move things around, again, it will figure out what vertical elbow is required for the change you've made and automatically swap that out so that your design automatically updates very quickly and very easily. You can also click and move them around. You can click and delete them just as fast. It's really intuitive, and it saves a lot of steps in modifying your design. Another really cool feature is being able to adjust your pipe runs and put in dynamic and static station ranges. So if you happen to have a portion of your design you're trying to hold, or maybe you have a utility conflict where they're hitting each other, you can define a station range now and hold that. And then as you alter your design or maybe update the depth dynamically to the surface it's referencing, those portions of the pipe will automatically stay that way. And then you also have the ability by simply grabbing and pulling, converting straight pipes to curved pipes vertically, and then dragging them right back to bringing them back to straight pipes again. So lots of really cool features. And let me also jump over and show you the vertical offset one. This one seems like a simple little feature, but I'm really excited about it. I found it really, really useful. So for example, if I wanted to put some water system in here and it was parallel to this alignment, I can now simply come up and say, create a pipe pressure network from an object, and then pick, for example, pick my alignment. And I won't bother going through giving it names and everything else right now, but I'm going to say this is going to reference the street top and that alignment. You'll also, now here's the new field that I'm referring to. So this is your vertical offset. So if I wanted to go to the left, that would be a negative. So I'll say, let's go to the left 6 feet with 3 feet of cover. Go ahead and choose OK. And you can see how it quickly made a pipe network for me very easily without me actually even having to draw anything or create an offset and then convert it from the offset polyline. It just dropped it in there very easily. And now we have a new pressure network in here. And again, they're now divided by runs, so we can make as many different runs all within the same network as we need to, which is really cool. And then if we go ahead and select that network and draw it on this profile here. Again, it remains dynamically linked to the properties that you've provided. So if you do make a design change, you'll notice that the utilities update as well. So it constantly maintains that design, which is really cool. And of course, to make this work, you want to make sure that your corridor and surfacing are all set to automatic rebuild. Autodesk has also added new support for adding rail profile view bands, which is pretty nice. Didn't exist previously in previous versions. A lot of these features are based upon the subversions of 2021.1. And so you can very easily grab cant values or super elevated values, if you will, for rail alignments. And then when you go to your profile views, you can come in and add, cant data tables, cant data bands to your profile view. And you can then view things like your left rail, your right rail, center line, as well as your equilibrium. And that's just with your default value. You can then come in and modify these to suit your needs. So if you wanted to come in and adjust the appearance of these, change the way they're being displayed, the fonts, the vertical exaggeration, if you will, band heights, all of that can be adjusted very easily. You can also go ahead and create your own custom ones and then swap those out as well. And if you wanted to, you could even put in additional data or even hard code your own static information so that it annotates it the way you'd like to see it. So for example, if you wanted an equilibrium plotted on the data band, you could put that in there and it would show that on the view band as well. You also have the ability to add speed bands, which is nice. So if you add speed bands to the rails, you'll be able to manipulate and adjust those. And in there, you can also add things like speeds, dimensions, additional text, stuff like that. It makes things really nice and easy for people that are doing rail design. The connector for ArcGIS has been enhanced as well. The new features in here now include things like curve support, editing ArcGIS data directly within Civil 3D, as well as creating your own new features. In previous releases, whenever you drew a curve in Civil 3D and then exported it out to ArcGIS, it would be segmented lines. But you'll see now, whenever you do that, and then open that up in ArcGIS Online, you'll see that true curves are now supported, making your design data much more accurate. You also have the ability to edit ArcGIS extended attributes. So when you select their data, you'll be able to go in, make changes as you see fit. And then as you do a save back, it will take the information and the changes that you've provided, save those back. And then again, once you view those in ArcGIS, you'll see that the changes you've made have now been updated in ArcGIS. And then along with that, you also have the ability to create your own data. So if you're drawing, for example, a feature line, you can create that feature line and then move that feature line onto an ArcGIS layer. And once you do that, it will take on all the extended attributes that are assigned to that layer as well. So now your simple feature line in your standard properties palette is going to have all the additional data. So again, you can then populate the necessary information that you like, and then perform a save back again. And when you do a save back and then open that up in ArcGIS, you'll see that your newly designed information is now also included in ArcGIS. So it's a handy little tool, handy little feature. And this also works with ArcGIS Enterprise. So great little feature. Feature line editing has been updated. There's a couple new tools, but I find them very useful, very beneficial. So some of the new tools that they've added are the set corridor baseline by elevation, set grades across multiple feature lines, and insert points at crossings. So let's take a look at a couple of those. So I happen to have a corridor here, and this is a corridor generated by a feature line, not necessarily an alignment. And so if I hover on that, you can see there's a corridor and a feature line. If I select that feature line, I can manipulate the design, and my contextual ribbon tab is going to open up. And then on the elevations panel, you'll see that there's a new button called Set Corridor Baseline Elevation by Reference. So I'll go ahead and select that. It asks me to select a reference point. So maybe I want it to be referencing my corridor over here. So I'll just pick a random endpoint right over here. And I'll specify a point on my corridor. Now I can snap to a specific vertice, or I can even just do a nearest, if you will. And if I do that, it'll even tell me, well, you don't have a vertice right there. Would you like to insert one at that point? Yes, I would. And then what grade would I like that to be? Let's go at -2%. You can see that new vertice has been added. And I was going to go ahead and split my screen. We'll orbit this around a little bit. We'll take a look at it. And this was pretty constantly flat. It was basically draped on the topo, which was very flat at the time. And so you can see now how that little update I did, because it showed me a default slope at the time of 0.4%. And you can see it's now set at a 2%. So you'll see a little divot in the design there. And I'll even do it one more time just so we can kind of see how that works. See it live in action. Go ahead and pick a point here. And I'll pick an endpoint there to a nearest point there. I'll insert, and we'll say -4%. And you can see how that design updates down below. And then you can go into your elevation editor, and all those additional points have been added and adjusted inside there. So great little tool. Another great little tool they've added is the insert points. So again, for example, let's grab, this is a feature line as well, just draped. And in here, we can edit this. And it's kind of funny, it's in a little bit of a weird location because you can actually insert these points as geometry points or elevation points within the tool. But for our purposes here, I'm going to choose the insert points at crossing locations. And it's going to ask me, do I want an elevation point or a PI point? Let's go ahead and do an elevation point. And you can see a new point has been added right there. And it's not only added to the one, but it's actually added to both. So now you can see the additional points that are right there. And then if I also select the feature line there, you can see the points have been added there as well. So everywhere that those points are crossing each other, you no longer have to insert those points manually or go through a big headache of editing those so that they match to the elevations you'd like them to be. So as you change one, obviously it's going to change the other. So great little feature. And then lastly, the new tool of being able to set the slope across feature lines. Now we could do this before, but what they've done is they've enhanced this tool so that it actually updates any and all feature lines within the file without you having to join them, which is really nice. So if I go ahead and choose that tool, you'll see that it highlights all the vertex points in all the feature lines within the file, even though I only selected a very small segmented feature line. I have several, I think 5 or 6 feature lines in here. I can pick my start point, and then I can trace not only along the feature line I selected, but along any feature lines in the file and get it anywhere I want, maybe up to right about there. And we're going to say this is going to be at -1%. And then if I look at it in the elevation editor, the entire thing's been edited across all feature lines to -1%, with the exception of the one I stopped halfway through. It's 1% up until the existing elevations that were already there. So definitely a time saver without having to merge all those things together again. Also, the BIM collaboration has been updated in Civil 3D. So you'll notice now that there's different functionalities on the front page, if you will, including different ways of viewing and sorting information that's available to you, additional file support. So you can now, and it will automatically, as you're referencing other file types, it will automatically store those with your files. So if you have sheet sets, very large surfaces that are generating MMS files, or even reference templates, you'll be able to do that as well. So if you go back to your home page, you'll notice that we have our thumbnail view as well as our detail view. And you'll be able to look at the file type, whether it's a cloud file, where it's stored, local file, when it was worked on last. And you can choose to work on those and open those, as well as the file types in here. You can go to the thumbnail views, and again, you'll get the little icon imagery. And any file that's been locked will be displayed with a lock as well. You can choose to open those, download those. Those are all going to appear on your recent list. And if I go to my BIM 360, that's going to get me to my project. And so all of your projects will be available to you in here. And let's see here. Let's go to, no, we got to just take a second to populate. So we have our different file types, whether it's been synchronized, how many versions are in there. Again, I can manipulate and sort by various information, like which files are locked, who locked them, when they were published to 360, things like that. So it's a lot more information available in there. I can go to my thumbnails, get to all my folder structures, and as well as get to all my various projects, as you saw. So lots of great enhancements on there. And as I said, it's also going to publish all of your MMS files, your reference templates, and your sheet sets, which is nice. Now let's take a look at some of the new features that have been included in Infraworks. So the new refined bridge analysis tool is a great little tool to help assist in your preliminary as well as your advanced design. It has different tools like creating grillage analysis, finite element analysis, as well as hybrids. So any bridge that you create in Infraworks, you'll have the ability to select that bridge now and then run an analysis on there. And say you wanted to do a grillage analysis, you can do that and it'll process in a cloud-based environment. And then once it's done processing, you'll be able to actually view the results in that same window. So you can look through and kind of see how things turned out And then you can even choose to open up Autodesk Structural Bridge Design, where it will import that bridge, and you'll be able to review everything, analyze everything, and continue your design, analyzing loads as well as your structural information. You can also do finite bridge analysis, basically using the same process, just choosing a different option. And what it's going to do then is bring in all of those finite details, like the various framings and things like that. And then when that comes in, you'll also be getting the load data and information for that. And then finally, you can choose to do a hybrid of the two, if you will, where it's going to take all of that information for the entire bridge and bring in the structural as well as the finite details. And that makes it really convenient because now you've got the entire bridge from the large elements to the small ones, all in one cohesive bridge model that again can be reviewed and further designed in structural bridge design. Another great little feature they've added is the cross-frame and diaphragm generators. And this is parametrically driven. And one of the cool things about it is it absorbs information from your bridge model. So from your girders and things, it's going to pull dimensions, it's going to pull orientation from the girders as well. All you need to do is simply grab it and select to add cross frames, and it'll generate a default layout. But again, it's a parametric design that you can change at any given time. So you can alter the number of frames, the spacings, the offsets, and again, it's going to dynamically update so that it's ever changing with your design. So very nice, very easy, and you can imagine the amount of effort it would have taken to manually create those frames and edit them if your design changes. So definitely a nice time saver. Component rows have gotten some updates as well. So they've added some abilities and additional functionalities when importing corridors from Civil 3D, also viewing the corridor property information as well as editing that, also manipulating the road striping and lane markings. Just take a quick look at some of that stuff. So here I have that same model laid out here. And if I'm laying this out, and I laid this road out in Infraworks and this corridor in Civil 3D. So we have one of each, that way we can look at both. But if I go ahead and look at the configuration of that road, you'll see that when you bring your corridors in now, you get this Civil 3D drawing tab. And in here, you can choose which alignments, which corridors, and things you're going to be bringing in, not just the entire thing. You can choose whether they're component roads or corridor component roads. And then you can also control how it's going to manage the grading off to the side. Use the grading that comes from Civil 3D, don't grade it, or use Infraworks grading. And then you have the ability also to come into your component mapping. From here, you'll be able to see your subassemblies, links, and shapes, which ones are being used, and which materials are assigned to each of those. So lane 1 is using a shape code of pavement 1. It's in the road category, and you can now choose what type of material is going to be displayed on those shapes, which is really nice. You can also choose to create your own additional ones. Choose the properties you'd like for those. And you can even drill this down to by corridor to make it a much cleaner, simpler file to look at. And then you can also look at the linking for the surfaces. So which links are used for generating the top surface as well as the datum surface. So a lot easier and definitely more customizable, so that when you bring in the corridor, you bring in exactly what you want and it looks exactly the way you want without you having to do a bunch of edits afterwards. Again, the striping can very easily be customized as well. So now when you select a component road, and it doesn't matter if it's a Civil 3D corridor or an Infraworks road. In fact, let's do one that hasn't been altered. Let's go ahead and come over here. So this one here, kind of has your out-of-the-box static striping. And now you can right-click and come over and adjust the pavement markings, which is going to allow you to bring up a window for what's happening in any location. So I can choose the color or the material patterns, bring up any color I choose. And then I can also choose my line types. I think the meeting is slowing down my software. Give that a second to update. So yeah, the line types are really really cool, because prior to that, you couldn't really do a whole lot with those. You could go to your style palette and add a constant line or a dash line, or maybe change the color on it and things like that. But you couldn't really group them and do quite a bit more with them. So now you can come in and choose the different line types that are going to be assigned to this. And again, the meeting is slowing my application down just a little bit, so bear with me. I apologize for that. But as you can see, very easy to make changes to any and all of the line types that come in from that road. I just did the one center line one, but as you can see, very customizable now. And then when it comes to intersections, we can now control the pavement markings. So for example, if we said, I want to click on this one, you'll notice how the pavement marking properties come right up. And if I wanted to, I could say, well, this is a through road only, no left turn. I can update those markings. I can also just click and turn off the pavement marking altogether, so that it's not even there. So it makes it really handy to be able to get these to look exactly the way you want and get the markings that you like without letting the software determine that for you. All right. Another nice feature they've added is the ability to bring in native LAS and LAZ point cloud files. Prior to this, you had to always open your LAS or LAZ files in Autodesk Recap and create a project and then save them out as a recap file. So now we can actually come in to our data sources, choose to bring in a point cloud, and it still primarily uses the RCS, RCP files, but you can come in and choose, for example, a LAS or an LAZ. I believe I have one here. Yeah. And it's still going to want to use the RCP, but what's nice is now you don't have to go through those extra steps. You can choose the source coordinate system. You can choose the target or destination coordinate system. And then what it's going to do is it's going to convert that to an RCP file on the fly for you. And by default, it's going to put it in the same location as your LAS file, or you can browse to wherever you want to store that, and it will automatically put that in there. In the end, you're going to have an RCP file connected to your model, but at least you didn't have to go through the extra effort of doing that manually, which is really nice. Another really great feature that we've been asking for quite a while that was finally added to the software, which is an awesome tool, is the ability to manage coordinate systems in Model Builder. So for those of you familiar with Infraworks, you probably know whenever you were going into Model Builder, it would automatically assign the LL48 coordinate system to any model you built. Now you had the ability to go in and alter it afterwards if you wanted to, but you could go in now and say, well, this is my defined area, give it a name, and then you can pick the coordinate system that's going to be assigned to it. And then once you choose create model, after that model has been generated, it will be built in that new system, which is an awesome new feature. And then finally, some updates to the homepage UI. So again, much like Civil 3D, they've put that similar front end display on the welcome screen. the ability to use detailed and tiled views, direct access to your BIM 360 models, as well as list your data. So you can see that here. Again, we can see which are local models and which are cloud models, ones that are in conflict of versions. Again, we can go through and manipulate the columns. We can look at the thumbnail views, and we can get to our BIM 360. Once your BIM 360 connects, again, it's going to pull up all the various projects you're working on. You can switch them out for any other projects that you might have. Go into your project folders. And again, you'll see your versions, the model states. Again, you can go through and manipulate the various columns that are in there. Again, if somebody's in those, the models have been locked, those are going to be there as well. But you'll have lots of access to the various data that's available to you very easily. So I know we went quick. There was lots of things to show you and only so much time to do it. But I did want to make sure that I left some time to field any questions that may have come up. So just a quick review, some of the things we looked at today was the new addition to Project Explorer, which is again added to the new AEC license. So if you have that, that will be available to you. It is a separate download and install, but once it's installed, it'll be available to you on your add-ins ribbon tab. We've looked at some of the additions and updates to the pressure pipe network tools, some of the new rail profile view bands, some of the enhancements to the ArcGIS connector, some of the new features and enhancements to feature lines, as well as the editing tools, and then some of the BIM 360 front-end enhancements. In Infraworks, we looked at the refined bridge analysis, the cross frames generation tool, the component road enhancements, which included striping, intersection markings, as well as collaboration with Civil 3D. The native LAS/LAZ file format support, the new coordinate system updates in Model Builder, as well as the front end. So with that, I'm going to leave it open to if anybody has any questions. Again, feel free and utilize the chat window if you do, and I'll be happy to answer any of those. Let me look through and see if I have any offhand. Yes, so all of these features were based upon the sub-release versions, if you will. So you may not see all of these if you look directly in a fresh install of Autodesk Civil 3D, for example, 2021, but you will see them in 21.1, for example. So make sure you stay up to date on all your service packs and updates and hotfixes, and then you'll have access to all of these features. Same thing with Infraworks. So yeah, just stay up to date on your Infraworks and make sure that your Autodesk connector is up to date, and it will notify you with any updates and changes, as well as maintain your cloud collaboration and synchronization. All right, not seeing any more questions. So with that, I do want to thank you all for coming and taking time out of your busy day. And just know that you can always reach us at microdesk.com, or feel free and give us a call at 800-336-3375. If you have any questions or technical support issues, we'll be happy to help you out with that. With that, thank you for attending.